My name is Will Feltz. I am the Ecuador Mission Team Coordinator. This past June was my 6th trip down there. My job is to dot the I's and cross the T's on getting the team prepared, safely down there and safely home. But once we're on the ground, the team leaders for medical, construction, and vacation Bible school take over. And members of those 3 teams would now like to tell you their stories.
Hello, I'm Dr. Marta Hampton. I'm a dermatologist in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am the medical leader for the annual Ecuadorian trip from Bethel United Methodist Church. Last trip was my 5th visit there, and I must admit each time it's gotten better and better because we learned from our previous visits. So normally what it entails is that we set up a clinic in the back part of the church of where we go to, which is Ascazubi, was the location we did this year. And we had 3 clinic days there, of which basically we saw about 80 patients a day within a 7-hour period. And then we did go to an outlining clinic that took us about an hour and a half to get to, and also saw another 80 patients. The patients would come from all over. Then I would evaluate them for their skin condition and then make recommendations. And this is the best part, is that we can give them medications, samples, in order for them to be able to treat their condition. And without these samples, I'm basically am worthless down there, because I can make a diagnosis, but I don't have anything to offer them to treat it. Basically, the visit was not a very successful visit. So for us to be able to give them their medicines is a huge treat, which means I have to bring these medicines with me, and it's usually about 75 pounds worth of medications that I basically gather over a 6-month period. And the best part is they walk out with a smile knowing they have something to help their skin condition.
Hey there, I'm Bill Duncan. I'm a new member here at Bethel United Methodist. This is my first mission trip with the group. I was on the construction team. We had the larger group was the construction team. We had a lot of youth. Our intention was to make a place brighter and cleaner. So we went through cleaning walls, priming them to prepare for the paint, and painting them. You know, what was so much fun was working with all these youth who were enthusiastic. You know, they didn't necessarily know what to do, but they were enthusiastic about doing it. Their energy was great for the rest of us old codgers to be around and have them ask us, what do I do next? Not what do I do, but what do I do next? Because that means they've already accomplished the first thing. It was great. This is a good group of kids, and they're well led, and they're well intentioned, and it was my pleasure to work with them. So one of the things that was interesting when we got there, out in the back of the church where the basketball soccer area was, one of the walls was painted, and it was getting very faded and looking kind of rough. And I asked someone what it was, and it was a mural that had been painted by our church in previous visits to this church. So one of the projects was to repaint that wall, Peace and Love. It was tough on some folks out there without enough water and at high altitude. But we got the wall repainted, and then they added butterflies on each end just to have a new thing to add to the mural.
My name is Katie Bevers, and I worked with the Bible school team in Ecuador this year. We had about anywhere between 40 and 50 kids each day. Some days we would have more, some days we would have less. But a typical day that we would have would include the kids showing up right after school, maybe right after they got home, and they would immediately go and play soccer in the back. And while they would be playing soccer, we would be finishing setting up to get everything ready. Usually, like, our arts and crafts picked out for the day. We would call all the kids inside, and they would sit at their tables, and we would have Amy explaining the Bible story and the lesson in Spanish, and then we would kind of switch over to activity time. I remember on the last day we made paper crowns that everybody got to make, and they each got to make one kind of to remember the kind of like the reign of God, and they got really into it. So they spent a lot of time doing that, and then usually we would conclude with having a snack, and then they would be able to go outside. And by that point in the day, the construction team was kind of wrapping up what they were working on. So some of our other people in our team could come down and play with the kids and just hang out with us.
So it was a very successful trip this year, and look forward to each time we go, making it better and better, and hopefully bring more and more medicines. I think it also gives the message to the people down in Ecuador that we, U.S. Americans, care about them.
I've done 9 mission trips before, including this one. And one of the things that I always pull away from those trips is that it's not what I give, it's what I get. And I think all of the folks on this trip, this really tight-knit Bethel group, got more out of this trip than they gave.
Because when you're working with others and not for others, then it's really just important to focus on the community that we're building, especially since Bethel has such a long history with our community in Ecuador, and like this sister congregation that we have over there.
With the support of the congregation, we'll continue our support of the Ecuador mission, and if you'd like to help or join the team even, we would love to have you. Paz y amor, peace and love.